Aries.
Hello Aries, this is your October forecast for 2013. And this is a month that's going to be all circled around relationships. I think you're going to like this month. Not only do we have the sun going through this area of your chart, we also have the new moon where you can plant seeds of how you wish to grow your relationships for the entire year. And that new moon is very important here. On the 4th is when you want to focus on how you can beautify, how you can deepen, and how you want to grow and expand and evolve your relationship with your significant other, your spouse, or your new relationship. And for those of you who are single, well, it's also a beautiful time for you to kind of put those intentions out there that you want to attract a specific, special life partner. We're not talking about flings or just passing dating scenarios. That's more like the 5th house. 7th house is all about the committed type relationships. So you want to put out those intentions that you want to attract the right partner for now. And 7th house is also working relationships, who you work with intimately or one-on-one in very tight bonded agreements and contracts and so forth. So it's also a good time to put out intentions that those working relationships may go smooth and nice for the entire coming year. Then we have Mercury this month. We are going to have it in the 8th house here, and then it's going to revert back because it's a Mercury retrograde month this month. So it's coming through September here throughout the 7th house. So you're going to be talking, communicating on the September end of this reading, and it's going to be moving through into the 7th house of relationships, and it will come back through from the 8th house back into the 7th so that you can tweak. Now, yes, it is always a frustrating time with Mercury retrograde. We know it's never a good time to buy any new appliances because they might just be funky and have to go back around and get a refund too. You know all the words with re in front, right? Refund, review, retweak, all those things. So not a time to buy things, but since Mercury has been moving through your 7th house of relationships, going into the 8th house, deepening down into those more intimate private sides, romantic private sides of your relationship, well, it's going to turn around there and it's going to come back into the 7th. So in this case, it's good because it's going to give you like a foot out into that new dimension where you're really going to go off the deep end and into the core of your partner, or also open up and become more vulnerable so your partner may be able to access you emotionally and differently. And so you get to have a taste of that. Then you're going to go back in. And 7th house is ruled by Libra, which are the scales, right? So you're going to figure out what works for you, what works for me, what works for you, what works for me. And then try to come on par together. And once that is balanced over these 3 weeks that it's going to be going retrograde, it'll go back into the 8th house and it will transit there for a few weeks. And then you really get to feel how much you have prepared under the retrograde period to really be able to take on that depth, okay? So this is going to be an interesting one. And I know a lot of you Arians, you've been so work and career focused and oriented with the big and major changes going on for you in your life. So many of you have started on with new jobs. A lot of you have quit the old. Some of you even lost your jobs, out of the blue, just like that, in a very Uranian, unexpected manner. And that is what Uranus does. But, it's always to throw you off into new directions. So right now, as you're working here in these very close environments in October, you'll get to see how this is going to work for you. Those one-on-one encounters you have with coworkers or your boss, for example. And then on the relationship side, this month is going to give you more time to kind of catch up with you and him, or you and her, and to be able to kind of relate a little bit closer and more intimately, because it's been such a busy, hectic year for so many of you. Then we have Venus. Venus is in this 8th house of intimacy already, so when Mercury's there, you will have Mercury, your destiny point, the moon node. You'll have Saturn and Venus. So there's a lot of karmic work through. Now, Venus is going to be in this area until the 6th, so that first week of October is going to be put on the chart for you to communicate, to explore, to go deep, to have those conversations that might have been a little bit resisted earlier. But see, it's going to come up to the surface all on its own right now, with or without your prompting. And any kind of deeper relationship issues in such an environment, well, it will just have the possibility to get all the truth up and out. Because, see, 8th house is a Scorpion house, and sometimes it holds secrets, hold things down. And it doesn't have to be deep, dark secrets. It could just be things you've been holding close to heart. Well, now is the time for that to come up, out, and share with your partner. And we also have the 8th house for those things that you value along with a partnership. Joint resources, bank accounts, merger, there is insurance companies and mortgages, all those kind of things too, or where you work together and split royalties and commissions. For example, this will be pinpointed also here this month, especially in that first week before Venus moves out of this area into a whole new area we're going to talk about. But Saturn is still there, so end of September coming into October here, you will probably find yourself looking over what kind of joint resources are important to you, what needs to go, what you want to hold on to. Some of you might be looking to the piggy bank or to stash, and put away some CDs or something for retirement, for example. Then we also have Uranus here in the 1st house, and this month with the full moon. The full moon coming in on the 18th, which will allow you to kind of illuminate this whole 1st house, which is you. The 1st house is how you present yourself out to the world. That's your rising sign. And having the full moon there, well, somehow, Aries, you're going to be in the spotlight, okay? And if you have any kind of Leo planets, well, you're going to just love it that much more. Taking the stage, And then, yes, Jupiter in your 4th house, well, that has allowed you to get that feeling of wanting to expand where you live, having more space, for example, and Jupiter loves that. There's no big aspects, transits going to Jupiter here this month. We do have one coming up here on the 12th, where the Sun and Jupiter may butt heads just a little bit. Where you're wanting to go in some direction and Jupiter is kind of blocking it. The Sun for you will be the 7th house, so a partner might block some of the thoughts, some of the ideas that you may be presenting at this time. But don't get discouraged. This is just like an aspect that's going to fly by really quickly there on the 12th. So if you're really engaged into this plan, this wish, this want, or goal, should I say, don't bring it up around the 12th, okay? Because you might not have him or her listen to you the way that you actually would like him or her to do. Anytime prior, anytime after, that's good. Just kind of leave it out of the picture there. Because there is a little twist and turn here at 10th, 12th, Venus and Neptune too is butting heads, and that's what you desire, it's what you dream, and Jupiter makes it big. Maybe your dreams or your plans might just be a little too big this month for your partner to actually be able to follow along. And why? Well, he or she might be coming from a totally different perspective right now, so you'll have to listen up on his or her chart, because they will also have Sun square Jupiter and their Venus square Neptune. So, they might have something else they would like to put in. So just listen to each other at least. We have Mars in the 5th house. So here, September, it's been really great having the plan of action in your house of fun and leisure and hobbies, getting around, doing those things that you love to do. And a lot of you are so sporty, Aries, that maybe white river rafting or climbing a wall, mountain climbing, things like that, parasailing. You daredevils, you. Bungee jumping. Well, it's a time where you've challenged yourself through fun here in September, but even more so coming through here in October. You'll have this position all the way to October 15th. So, make the most out of it. It's going to be 2 years before you get to revisit this time of so much fun and excitement that you have been feeling now. And then Mars is going to be focusing on getting back to, your chores, your day-to-day routines. That's what sixth house is all about. How you strategize, organize, and get on top of everything that needs to be neat and tidy. See, Mars is a 2-year cycle, and so like every 2 years we get to visit each, of these sectors. And it heading now from the 15th into your 6th, well, it's this time of this cycle that you get to reorganize perhaps, all the drawers in your house and your desk and your closets and so forth. I mean, really, really down to the bottom, neat. And then it's good to go for a long time. But that's what you're going to be doing. You're not going to be, rock climbing and parachuting and all that like you're doing here in end of September coming in. First half of October. But do have fun and enjoy it, though, as long as that lasts. And then we also have Pluto, 10th house, career. We have talked about that the previous months, and it's a slow-moving thing. You're carving your river, so to speak, and it's going to be there for many years. We do have a Pluto aspect here on the 1st. The Sun and Pluto are going to be square, so you might feel that there's something there that's not sitting too well, either with a close coworker. It could be with a supervisor or a boss, something that might just come to heads, but it's just the energy that's passing through. Don't take it too seriously. Recognize it, acknowledge it, embrace it, and then let it go, because it's not going to linger. The sun moves a degree per day, so you might feel it the day before, the day of the exact on the 1st, and maybe on the 2nd, but then it's going to be gone. So don't take it too personally. It's just all this energy that needs to come out, and Pluto does burst at times, so that's all that is. And then we also have Mercury healing some of this on the 5th, 6th, when Mercury comes around to Pluto here, and we'll want to set things straight, and it's by a sextile. Mercury communicates and may be able to revisit and put it on the map and say, hey, what happened here, a few days ago, and then you can say what your real intentions were about it, clear up any misunderstanding. And the beautiful thing about Pluto, as explosive as it can be, it's also the greatest healer that you can have on your side, because when it forgives, it lets go and it's gone. So yes, use that day there on the 6th. And this is the very same day, too, that Venus is going to leave Scorpio, the house of Scorpio, and move into Sagittarius for you. And so this is going to be a good time. Venus loves the 9th house, where it can expand its mind, its thoughts, all those things that you believe in. You might feel, a yearning to travel, which the 9th house is all about. Foreign countries, foreign people, places, languages. You might take up some studies, and studying languages would be a good one here on this aspect. And so yeah, enjoy that. It's a fun place for Venus, because it being in the house of Sagittarius, it's actually like having a Venus-Jupiter conjunction, meaning that it's such a happy-go-lucky area, and especially because you've been relating emotionally very, very deep now that Venus has been going through Scorpio. Well, that's been taking you inwardly, it's spirit time, and sharing that deep core spirit with a partner for better or worse. So it's like now you can just let go and enjoy. We also have a surprise date this month when we're talking about Venus. That will be on the 16th when Venus and Uranus meets, do the dance. And we love those kind of surprises because Venus is what we love. It's what we desire. You know, it could be external things. It could be internal, emotional things. And Uranus will just bring it out of the blue just like that. And where it's coming from for you, well, it's between your first house and your ninth house. So it might have something to do coming from at distance, which it is the ninth house, and coming from the first house, which is to you. But also it could be you surprising somebody with a gift as well, you know, where you're just like a little bit spontaneous here on this day. We love everything about spontaneity. And it's between two fire houses, so that's going to put some oomph behind it as well. Just be playful. The sun is going to be moving into Scorpio here on the 22nd. So up till then, the sun is going to be working on, the sun is always you, will be working on your partner. Remember, the 7th house is the other, the first house is self. So the sun is going to be working on your partner, how you can improve, how you can balance up things. And it will enjoy being here, especially because we have that new moon where you plant seeds for how you want your relationships to look like, not just for the rest of the month, but for the entire year. This is where the seeds are for October. And so it's going to enjoy its journey here. And then it's going to go off the deep end as it enters into the 8th house of intimacy and privacy and sexuality, all those things that where you feel very jointly connected to this other. And so any kind of partnerships, that's, you know, for November. Now, if also you're thinking about money, joint resources, wanting to place some money, well, wait, don't do that necessarily research in October, but wait for November is always the best time for you to do something as far as placement of money, to grow it, because that's the banks and so forth. Then we have Mercury and Saturn. Yes, that is a day to be aware of on the 6th. And Mercury is still with us. It hasn't turned retrograde quite yet at that time. And it being with Saturn and in the 8th house, well, you know, there might be a very deep communication that's important and necessary on the 6th. This could have to do with resources and money, your thoughts about it, where you want it to go. It might be a deeper communication, for example, between you and your partner, and how you can tweak or improve. And at least, you know, if you haven't made any solid decisions quite yet, which Saturn really wants, it's okay, because you can have that as an initiation talk. And then Mercury is going to go retrograde, as mentioned, on the 21st. It's going to move out of this joint area of joint finances. It's going to go back into the relationship house. So it's going to be there for 3.5 weeks before it comes back in. So you will have time sometime out there in November, closer to the end of November, where you can revisit whatever this new agreement may be all about. It's not a good time to put your name to any paper while Mercury is in retrograde, and especially not in this area that has to do with money, okay? So you might just say, yeah, this sounds good, you know, let's think about it, let's talk about it, let's revisit down the line. That is the best thing you can do. So this is pretty much what we have here this month for you, Aries. It's always good to meet you, see you, hear from you, and I get a lot of comments and a lot of readings from you as you're transiting through the changes that your scope is showing. And until next time, have a good one. Do listen to your moon signs, your rising signs, and I'll see you.